Hi, everybody. Welcome to the latest edition of Business Beat, brought to you by the Prescott Chamber of Commerce. I'm Sanford Cohen, past chair of the Prescott Chamber, and
I'm Sheri Heiney, President and CEO of the Chamber.
very well done.
Thank you.
And we're here to bring you up to date on what's going on in the business community and with the Prescott Chamber of Commerce. So let's get right to it. We've had a really busy first quarter here in the chamber, and so I'll touch on a couple of the highlights, and then a little bit later on, there's some really exciting news to talk about with regard to some upcoming events with the chamber, and Sheri will cover a lot of those. But first and foremost, I got to talk about the thing that's near and dear to me, and that, of course, is sports. And so the Prescott Chamber of Commerce sponsored Chamber Night at the Northern Arizona Suns. And it's funny how a lot of organizations have now started to do this ever since we came up with the idea. And so it was a really cool thing. The members were able to come to the Suns game, pay $25. They get a floor seat and an all-you-can-eat buffet and NBA caliber basketball all in one. And we had, I guess, about
77.
Yeah, 77 shows. It was great. And people had a great time, and the Suns won.
They did. It was a great time.
Yeah.
It was a great partnership.
So again, the idea of getting out into the community and giving chamber people opportunities to network and then also to enjoy a live sporting event. I mean, that's just really an awesome thing, and really looking forward to doing that again and again and again and again.
Absolutely.
But on a more serious note, we did go down to the legislature on behalf of the Prescott Chamber for Chamber Advocacy Day. And this is something that I've been involved in for many years with the Prescott Valley Chamber, also with the Parker and Lake Havasu City Chambers, and of course with the Prescott Chamber as well. And this is an opportunity to go down to the Capitol and hear some speakers that have a lot to say with regard to employment rules and the latest in business regulation. And we get a chance to actually hear directly from the Speaker of the House and the President of the Senate, which is a really awesome opportunity to discuss our issues with them and for them to understand where we fit in certain avenues, and then also for them to tell us, what they're considering enacting in terms of new legislation that might have an effect on business. So it's a really great opportunity to commingle with our legislators, and then lunch.
Yes.
You can't have an event without lunch.
Absolutely.
And the lunch is really cool. We get to sit outside. Our local legislators, Karen Fan, Noel Campbell, David Stringer, come and sit and have lunch with us. In addition, we have the members of the Prescott Valley Chamber and also Lake Havasu City and Parker. We're all in the same congressional district. So it's really a great chamber networking opportunity, but also a golden opportunity to get a chance to speak directly to our legislators and let them know what's on our minds and what we can do to better represent the interests of the business community and the quality of life of our communities as a whole. And being, in a rural situation, there's a lot of, thought that Phoenix and Tucson basically stir the drink when it comes to the state of Arizona. But, the funny thing is that rural communities really do have a lot of input into what goes on in the state. And at one time, before you were here, at one time we had the Speaker of the House, we had the President of the Senate, and the Secretary of State, all from Yavapai County.
Wow.
So, we've our voices get heard down there at the Capitol. So it was a great opportunity, and I know you had a chance to mingle, and this is not your first advocacy day. Last year was, and you were like a deer in the headlights. I think that was a huge event.
That was the first time I was meeting with everyone too. So it was very interesting. What I'm happy about is how many board members attended the event. And more importantly, it's a chance for all of the chambers to have one voice and for us collectively to connect with everyone and find out what the issues are, and we work on them together. And I think that's so important.
And just so you know, we do try to get a little extra, bang for our buck when we go down there. So we actually had a private meeting with the director of the Arizona Chamber of Commerce, Glenn Hammer, and that was also an eye-opening event because what the state does to represent Arizona, not just in the nation but in the world. Prescott has a chance to kind of feed off of that, but
Absolutely.
only if they know about us. And of course, getting a chance to meet with Glenn privately, that's really a big benefit going forward for, who knows, potential economic development that could be down the road.
Well, we're bringing them here to Prescott sometime, hopefully in June or July, whenever the calendars match up. So that'll be a great connection for us.
So the obviously what the chamber does for the community is evident around wherever you see. We have our Shop Prescott, Start Here stickers, our Shop Local campaign that a lot of people participated in, the courthouse lighting, which is something of course that we put on, and the Christmas parade. As Arizona's official Christmas city, you're going to find out in a few minutes. John Heiney is going to be joining us. He's the tourism director for the City of Prescott, community outreach director.
Who is that person?
Community outreach director. Yes. And it's really interesting when you have somebody new that gets a chance to see what goes on in our community through a new set of eyes. And I think it'll be really an interesting perspective to hear not just what John has to say about tourism, but about Prescott's role in creating that economic engine that tourism is.
Absolutely.
So
and it's history too, because it's the first time we've been together in an interview. So that'll be interesting to see how that pans out.
Yeah, you said that there were people back in Michigan that really were clamoring to get you guys both on camera at the same time, and you just steadfastly refused to do it.
We did, mainly because we were in competitive communities. So that really wouldn't fly well.
Gotcha.
We had to take the fifth on that one.
All right, well, this will work out just fine. I know that John's a little nervous, but don't worry. I think we'll be able to guide him through. He'll be just fine. We know what to ask him.
I won't give him the honey to-do list here.
That's good.
We'll keep that clean, right?
All right, now we do have a lot of events coming up that we want to talk about, and we also want, of course, you to stay tuned due to the fact that we have not just John Heiney, our tourism director, up next, but then some really great announcements about some upcoming programs, many of which are being done for the first time here for the Prescott Chamber of Commerce. We had our new board has convened twice now, and I'm really impressed with the depth and the personality of the board, and under Margot Christensen's leadership, I think it's going to be a heck of a year, and what better demonstration for that than to tell everybody after the break, well, after John's interview and then the break, all the new things that are going to be going on this year.
Absolutely, and I'm just going to be touching on a few of them, so I don't want to overwhelm everyone. We've got to keep surprises throughout the year.
All right, well, it's no surprise who's coming up next. It's John Heiney, the tourism director for the City of Prescott, and he's up next on the Business Beat when we return. Well, welcome back to Business Beat, and as we mentioned in the opening of the show, our guest is John Heiney. He's with the City of Prescott. And if you notice the last name similarity between John and my co-host, just forget about that for the time being. We're here to talk tourism. And there's good news about tourism, right? Prescott has really had a pretty good year so far. You're in a fiscal year, so
Absolutely.
How are we doing as far as getting money from the rest of the state and the rest of the country?
Sanford, we're doing very well. Thank you for having me on the show, by the way. Yes, our bed tax collection, that is basically what we call the heads and beds tax, is up above projections about 7%. So we're about midway through our fiscal year, so we have a very strong year trending so far, and we think it's going to continue through the spring.
Now, you've had a chance to kind of get the lay of the landscape as far as Prescott's role in tourism in the state. How has that, in your mind, where are we now, and where do you see us going as a tourism destination in the future?
Sure. I think the plan is to go upward and do more with the state. Actually, in the past year, we've done a lot of changes in the tourism office, which I think are being noticed by the state and other destinations and by travel providers as well. So what we did about a year ago is we tightened things up a little bit. I was named the community outreach manager for the city, but also the head of the tourism office. I have background in both, so I was able to do that. Then we brought back Wendy Bridges, who has served with the city for about 10 years in both economic development and tourism. We kind of brought her back into tourism to help out with that as well. And then about middle of the year in July, we hired Ann Stewart, and she is our sales and marketing coordinator. So we feel like we have a full team. We call ourselves small but mighty. We're doing a lot with a little, but we attended the governor's conference back in July. We were up for 2 awards at that conference, and we won 1. And so I think that we're, in terms of other destinations and with the state, I think we really are getting some recognition, but we have a lot more work to do.
Now, you're from Michigan and, worked in, tourism marketing for, what was it, City of Birmingham, right?
City of Birmingham, yes.
Yeah. Now, when you got to experience the courthouse lighting for the first time, how did that impress you in terms of the magnitude of that event relative to what you were used to back in Michigan?
It's amazing. It literally is breathtaking when those lights go on. We were in the courthouse plaza. I was right in the thick of things. So many people, so much enthusiasm, so much energy and passion. I actually lit up a Christmas tree in Birmingham and did those types of things, but nothing really compares to this. This has been an amazing experience.
I think that's the thing that people need to realize is, we've been living with the courthouse lighting ceremony for so many years, and for us it's kind of routine.
Right.
But yeah, when you come in from outside and see it for the first time, it's amazing.
It is amazing. In fact, Sanford, I'll say that really has been my experience with many things in Prescott. I think that this is an amazing, beautiful community. Our natural resources, our amenities, our trails, our weather, so much to offer. And yes, when you live somewhere, you start to, sort of accept it for what it is. But as outsiders, we're wide-eyed, we're looking at every vista, trying every trail out, seeing every tree lighting and event. And it's really been a great adventure. And I look forward to promoting it to others to come see it.
Well, I have to admit that, when we did our search for a new president and CEO and hired Sheri Heiney, I guess John was kind of like the player to be named later. And so the idea of coming in and basically starting from scratch, our tourism is such an important part of Prescott's economy. Talk about just exactly what is the overall financial impact for tourism in terms of jobs and revenue and so forth.
Oh,
in Prescott.
yeah, I mean, it's absolutely huge. We are primarily a tourist-based economy, although we've got a nice diversifying economy. Tourism is still number 1 for Prescott, as it is really for the state of Arizona. So we basically, when we started about a year ago, we had a new city manager. Michael Lamar had just started. We knew at the city some things needed to change. The good news is we had some continuity. We had the Tourism Advisory Committee led by Margot Christensen and the folks there. They kind of helped us understand kind of where we'd come from. And now we're continuing on with the Tourism Advisory Committee now is an official city committee. They started in October in that capacity. They're a public committee. Open to the public, meetings and those types of things. So I think having that continuity with TAC, but also these new visions and ideas really helped us thrive. And I wanted to mention also that we just completed a tourism strategic plan, the first time ever. Last week I told the TAC, you made history. This is the first of its kind. So we have a 5-year tourism strategic plan that's going to be discussed with council later, actually next month in March. And so we're excited about that to kind of give us more of a guiding vision going forward.
So besides winning awards, what other things is the City of Prescott doing to get the word out about about tourism?
Sure. So tourism is a very important part of what we do. So we have a budget. Our marketing budget alone in our tourism bed tax is about $330,000. I did increase that about 10% last year. So we are working with the Arizona Office of Tourism on a co-op program. We get a dollar for dollar match on our dollars. So we have a $50,000 that we put in, we get $100,000 in advertising. We're reaching out to markets. We kind of identify the markets that we want to reach out to, and then we're reaching out through various media. It's a multimedia campaign. We're definitely emphasizing, in addition to traditional media, radio and television and those types of things, we're doing more online and social media. So how we decide where we're going to advertise is based on research that's been done. So we learned from a company called Buxton with consumer credit card expenditures that our top 3 markets for visitors are Phoenix and the metro area in Phoenix, which makes sense. The second place is Los Angeles and Southern California. And that was a little bit of a turnaround. It used to be Tucson. Tucson's number 3 now. So we have Phoenix, LA, Tucson. But so we saw that change and we decided to play to it. So we're in LA Magazine. We're doing a lot more in Southern California advertising. And it's really been helpful. The tourists that come from LA are younger. They're a little bit more affluent. They usually have families with them. And that's all the things that we like to see coming to visit Prescott.
Do you have any facts and figures in terms of what an average person or an average family spends when they spend time in Prescott?
Well, we do have some numbers based on events and things like that, and those numbers change all the time. But what I do know is where they're spending their money, and I can share that a little bit with your audience. So Buxton also gave us some expenditure categories. So kind of breaking it down, restaurants, hotels, big box retailers, that type of thing. So it was no surprise to learn that restaurants are the number 1 category where people spend their money because visitors as well as residents go to restaurants. The number 2 category was a little surprising, and it's unusual even for a tourist destination. The number 2 category in terms of expenditures was hotels and overnight stays. So that bodes very well for the tourism market. And then number 3 was another good one, was also interesting and unusual, was boutique retail. So these are not the big boxes. These are locally owned stores like we see on Whiskey Row and around downtown Prescott. So we know where they're spending their money and how they're doing it, and that helps us make our marketing decisions as well.
So Prescott kind of being off the beaten path a little bit, away from the interstates,
Yes.
that does kind of, add to the curiosity factor maybe.
I think it does, and that's why we're working very hard to invite folks, even folks from Phoenix that have not been here before. They want to see that beautiful courthouse lighting. Maybe they'll see some snow, and maybe that's something they don't get a chance to see. So we're really enticing. One of the things you mentioned, Christmas City, in our marketing plan for 2017-18 is we want to own Christmas City, okay? We were designated in 1989 as Arizona's Christmas City by the governor. From a marketing standpoint, I think we can do a better job getting the word out about that locally and nationally, and we're working on that.
So I didn't mean to
quiet
hog the whole
here.
spotlight
Oh,
here,
no,
but
great.
I know the chamber
Oh,
is
yes.
very
Yeah.
interested in tourism. In fact, the chamber operates the visitor center,
We
which
do,
is a big component of tourism.
Absolutely, and the destinations that John talks about, we see them in our visitor center where they sign up and let us know that they're inside and they're visiting, and we're helping give them the referrals. So I think it's interesting to hear about the boutique shopping. I think it ties right into our famous Shop Prescott Start Here campaign,
Absolutely.
which you chair.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
So, want me to talk about that a little bit? I'll
Sure.
just say
I
that
think that would be great.
this is an initiative that we started last fall, just before the holidays, and actually I give the chamber credit and Sanford and his leadership for bringing this message forward. And we want to let people know that we want to support our brick and mortar retailers. We have a lot of great shops and locally owned boutiques. We also have great big box stores. So we have a variety of different businesses that have made an investment in Prescott, that have put walls up and said, come on in. So we want to support them. And we started that. We launched it in October. And we have, I've been very excited to see that pretty much every storefront I walk in, I see the Shop Prescott sign right now. It's really proliferated. And we have our banner over Gurley Street right now, so check that out. And we're going to continue to find ways to get that message out there. But supporting local brick and mortar retailers is vital for any economy. And I'm just glad that we're partnering to get that message out.
Absolutely. And it's great to see our tourists are supporting our local
Absolutely.
brick and mortar.
Yes.
And now we just have to encourage our residents to do the same.
Yes, and
As
I
that
think-
most of them are, but to really have that commitment.
Yes, and I think we'll continue to get that message out. But our residents are very passionate about our town, and I think that the more we invite them to do that, I think we're going to get good results.
Well, I think one of the most intelligent marketing decisions that the city of Prescott made was in putting their name out at the Grand Canyon, because those are people that come from all over the world. And you guys have been, and in the interest of full disclosure, Travel Radio is a radio station that's owned by our group. But the fact is, though, that we're the only commercial radio station at the Grand Canyon, and Prescott has a 5-minute feature that runs every hour, 24 hours a day, and they've been doing it now for 7 years.
Wow. Yes.
To bring tourists here.
And and we talk about Grand Canyon. One of the things I discovered as a new resident, and it's going to be part of our marketing going both ways, but how, really the Grand Canyon is very accessible from Prescott. There are other cities that call themselves the gateway to the Grand Canyon, but we also can serve in that role as well, if you think creatively. So it goes both ways. We appreciate being on the station. Maybe they'll take a trip down to Prescott on their way back, but we're also going to do a lot of marketing to get people to see Prescott differently in terms of our location and how we relate to Grand Canyon and other destinations in Arizona.
Well, and because we broadcast in German and Japanese as well, we've had local hotel people have told us that they had German tourists that showed up from the Grand Canyon, having heard about Prescott, and they wanted to see the Wild West.
Absolutely, and that's a big, that's one big segment from the European travelers, Germans, and they are just absolutely infatuated with West and Western lore, and we have quite a bit of that in Prescott. So it's a good message.
One other thing that I want to bring up real quick, and that is the proliferation of mountain bikes. The mountain bike community has just exploded, and Prescott is like a major destination for mountain bikers.
Absolutely, yes. In fact, we just approved support for another year for Epic Rides, which does the whiskey off-road in the spring, and we're very excited to work with them again. I actually visited. There's actually a mountain biking website as well. There's a really vibrant mountain biking community, and it's growing, as you said. So the tourism office is going to continue to work with them to help promote not just the whiskey off-road event, but also mountain biking in Prescott. And I have to put a plug in for our recreation services department, because we're continuing to add trails. We just added 3 miles to the Iron King Trail. We just purchased land in the Granite Dells. We're also going to add trails there as well. So we are constantly adding to our trail system.
So Joe Baines gets a plug.
Joe Baines, yeah. Shout out to Joe Baines. Yes, absolutely.
Job.
They're doing a great job.
Well, I mean, we could talk about this all day, and one of these days we are going to have you back to talk about economic development, because that's another hat that you wear for the city, and also something that's very vital to the economy. But on behalf of my co-host, we both want to thank you for joining us on Business Beat.
Well, thank you, and thank you for the opportunity. I appreciate it.
You bet. We'll be back with more here on the Business Beat when we return. And we're back on the Business Beat from the Prescott Chamber of Commerce. I'm Sanford Cohen, along with Sheri Heiney, and a great interview with John. He obviously not only is experienced in tourism, but he's able to come in there with a fresh set of eyes and see some really great potential here in the city of Prescott tourism-wise. So I'm excited for the upcoming year to see where I'm going to hear and see Prescott's name in. I'd love to see it on TV down in Phoenix.
There you go. Hey, we should work on that, right?
Yeah, that'd be cool. But anyway, Sheri has come up with a number of events that are going to be launched for the first time, and few for the second time. But nonetheless, these are things that the Chamber uses as an opportunity for members to network, for people to come and be a guest and see what the Chamber's all about. And a lot of these things are either really fun, really educational, or both. So we're going to find out from Sheri this very ambitious agenda that you've put together for 2018. So take it away.
Thank you, Sanford. A couple things I do want to talk about before I get into some of the actual events and dates. We started in January. Well, we started in January to talk about the partnership with the Veterans Group. And wow, that's been going very well for us. What our goal is with the veterans is to identify the niches, veteran-owned businesses, folks that maybe are trying to start a business that may be veterans. And so what we've done is we've partnered with our veteran community here, and we're offering quarterly networking events. And we had our first one in January at Embry-Riddle, and that was hugely successful. We even found out that there's some folks trying to start a business there. So we're connecting them with all the opportunities that we can here in Prescott. But the reason why I want to talk about it today is because on April 6th, we're going to have Heroes Night. And that again is going to be at Embry-Riddle. And we're going to be honoring those that have been serving, not only as a veteran, but also in the police, fire, and all of those areas too. So very important to us. We're very excited about that. We're excited about the partnership with Embry-Riddle, and we feel like this will be an event that will really just kind of kick off and stick for this area. So that's exciting. At the annual meeting, we talked about the Prescott Chamber of Business Awards. We have that scheduled for October 11th, and we are currently taking nominations to identify those business of excellence in several different categories. So we want to encourage you to get on our website and nominate your favorite business in certain categories. And we're taking those until April 6th. And this will become another one of our signature events. Just so thrilled to put it together. It's really important to honor those that are serving us well here. So we're very excited about that. We had a successful new member breakfast that was in the beginning of March. And it's just exciting to bring all the new members. Our membership director, Todd Mason's been doing a fantastic job of doing that. And the goal for a new member breakfast is for each new member to get to know each other. So that's great stuff. And we have our networking at night coming up, which you're a sponsor of.
Yay.
I point at Sanford. And MC, you do a great job with that. And that's going to be at the Eagle's Nest at the Prescott Resort on March 15th. And that's from 5 to 6:30. So that event is just a really fun way to network. Our last one was at Finley Auto Group, and I mean, it was very busy there.
Huge turnout.
It was huge turnout. We also had their ribbon cutting as well. And then towards the end of March, we have the very important Prescott Job Fair. And that program is Friday, March 23rd, and that's from 9 a.m. to 2. And here's the great thing. We're still, we have a lot of businesses that are signed up for jobs. They have jobs available. And we also want to encourage everyone who is looking for a job to attend this event. In fact, Sanford, when we were on break, you said you hired one of your best employees from this process.
Absolutely true.
So that's a great way to get a job or fill a position that you may have as a business. So, and I'm just really proud that we partner with the Yavapai College to put this on, because this is a great opportunity for the whole market. Last year we had over 500 jobs open, and I haven't heard all the numbers yet because they still keep coming in, but we're probably above that right now.
Nice.
Yeah. So, so a lot going on: networking, job fair, celebrations. What more can you ask for a Chamber of Commerce?
Well,
That's a lot, just in the month of March.
yeah, and just real quick, down and dirty, the visitor center.
Oh, yeah.
We're getting a lot of activity in the visitor center.
The visitor center has been very busy, and so, and the relocation packets. A lot of times, if you know of somebody who might be moving into the area, you can contact the chamber, and we have a welcome packet for those folks. But we have over about 100, 150 folks that are outside the area looking to gather information about the Prescott area, and so we package those and mail those out. Very important process for us, and very active, very active. And
then there's our website.
Yeah, we're updating our website right now, and so you can always go there to get all the information. We have the community calendar along with our chamber calendar as well.
Prescott.org.
So, that is right.
2017 was a year of transition for the Prescott Chamber of Commerce, and 2018 is, I think the trajectory is definitely upward.
Oh, yeah,
and so
absolutely.
we're really excited about the coming year, and we're going to offer you, of course, continued updates here on Business Beat. So you can just stay tuned to this channel, and you'll be hearing from us again and again and again and again and again.
Absolutely.
So anyway, we want to wish you the best Prescott spring ever. And next time when we see you here, we will be more than happy to welcome you back from the Prescott Chamber on The Business Beat.